Yes, so hello guys, welcome back to another edition of Sports Updates Ghana. My name is Joseph Adamafiu, and coming up in this edition, we're going to look at the performance of some Ghanaian players abroad as the likes of Mohamed Kudus was in action for West Ham in their game against Wolves. Also, Jordan Ayew and his brother Andre Ayew were all in action for their respective clubs, same as other key Ghanaian players like Antoine Semenyo, who has also been nominated for the Player of the Month in the Premier League. Also, we'll take a look at the performance of Kamaldeen Sulemana as well as the performance of Fatal Issahaku and a number of notable Ghanaian players abroad. So stick with us as I bring you up to speed on all these players and more. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, like, share, and don't forget to leave a comment. So let's get right into it, starting off with the first kickoff for the Premier League today, and it was Manchester City who took on Crystal Palace in the game. Well, two Ghanaian players were in action in the game. I'm talking about Jeffrey Schlupp and Jordan Ayew. However, Jeffrey Schlupp was part of the players who managed to get an assist for Crystal Palace in the game, but Jordan Ayew, these days things are very tough. He couldn't get an assist in the game, but contributed his quota to help Crystal Palace. But despite that, they lost the game by 4-2. Well, Man City scored their goals through Kevin De Bruyne, who scored 2 goals. Erling Haaland also scored a goal, as well as Lewis, who scored a goal for Man City in the game. For Crystal Palace, their goals were scored by Mateta as well as Edward, who ensured that they got 2 consolation goals in the game. But for Jordan Ayew, he was substituted in the 74th minute. However, for Jeffrey Schlupp, he was also substituted in the 64th minute. So that was how these two Ghanaian players fared in Man City's game against Crystal Palace. Well, away from that, let's check out another Ghanaian player, and that is striker Antoine Semenyo, who has been nominated for the Premier League Player of the Month for March. So if you haven't voted, please go and vote for him. Well, he was in action for his team, that is Bournemouth, as they came up against Luton Town. It was an away match. Luton Town won the game by 2-1. Antoine Semenyo couldn't score, but his team managed to go get a consolation goal in the game. Their first goal was scored by Tavernier, and it was Morris who scored the first goal for Luton Town before Clark also scored a goal for Luton Town. That was how Antoine Semenyo performed for Bournemouth in their defeat to Luton Town. So two Ghanaian players suffered defeat in the Premier League. However, in the game involving Ghana's player, that is Mohamed Kudus, who is currently our star man in the Premier League, well, he played for West Ham as they managed to defeat Wolves in an away fixture by 2-1. However, Mohamed Kudus, who lasted 90 minutes in the game, did not score a goal, but he contributed a lot to ensure that West Ham won the game by 2-1. So this was how it all panned out. Well, Wolves, who were the home team, scored the first goal through a penalty, but in the second half, Lucas Paqueta scored the equalizer through a penalty to make it 1-1. Then later on in the 84th minute, Ward-Prowse scored the winner for West Ham to win the game by 2-1. Well, Wolves scored a late goal, but the referee decided not to allow the goal stand, and that was how come David Moyes' side won the game by 2-1. Now, let's check out how Mohamed Kudus performed in this game. Well, the Ghanaian player was rated 6.5 for his performance in the game. Kudus played 90 minutes of action. He had 57 touches on the ball, 90% passing accuracy. Only 2 of his passes were inaccurate. He was involved in 5 crosses, 1 long ball, and had 2 shots off target and 1 shot on target and 1 shot blocked. So that was how Mohamed Kudus performed for West Ham in their game against Wolves. Now, away from that match, let me tell you about the game involving Brighton versus Arsenal. One Ghanaian player was involved in action in that game, and that could be none other than Tariq Lamptey. Tariq Lamptey was in action for Brighton as they came up against Arsenal. 3-0 it ended as Mikel Arteta's Arsenal won the game by 3-0. Well, Thomas Partey, who played in the midweek action for Arsenal, however, was benched for this game. He didn't play a single minute in this game. Edin Ketia, the English player of Ghanaian descent, came on as a substitute to play in the game. Well, this was how it panned out in the game. Tariq Lamptey started the match for Brighton, but however, he was caught up in a very, very difficult situation when he fouled Gabriel Jesus, and that was how Arsenal won the first penalty in the game to score the goal through Bukayo Saka. So Bukayo Saka scored the first goal, Kai Havertz scored the second goal, then Trossard scored the third goal to ensure that the Gunners took 3 points away from Brighton in the game. So that was how it ended over there. Arsenal currently leading the table as Liverpool is here to play Manchester United, and tomorrow I'll be going on the streets to catch a glimpse of how fans will react to the game involving Manchester United versus Liverpool. Well, let's travel to Germany now, where Bayern Leverkusen ensured that they won their game against Union Berlin to inch closer to winning the German Bundesliga title. Well, Dutch player of Ghanaian descent, that is Jeremy Frimpong, came on to play the last 11 minutes of action in the game for Bayern Leverkusen as they defeated Union Berlin by 1-0, and currently Bayer Leverkusen are inching closer to winning the Bundesliga title as Bayern Munich, the usual favorites, are no longer in favor of winning the title. So that was how it ended in Germany. But there was one crucial game involving two players in the French Ligue 1 as Lens took on Le Havre, and it was Ghana's Abdul Salis who came up against his Black Stars captain Andre Ayew in the game. It ended 1-1 between Lens versus Le Havre. Well, Andre Ayew started the game. He got a yellow card and he was rated 6.4 for his performance in the game. The Black Stars captain lasted 74 minutes of action in the game before he was substituted. However, there was some issues with Abdul Salis as the Ghanaian player picked up a knock and was substituted in the game after the first half. So Abdul Salis, according to reports, is injured, and that was why he couldn't play the full match involving Le Havre versus Lens. 1-1 it ended in that game. Now let's wrap it up with the English Championship as Blackburn Rovers came up against Southampton, and it was Kamaldeen Sulemana who was in action for Southampton in this particular game as they played away. Well, for Kamaldeen Sulemana, he came on as a substitute in the 75th minute to play the last 15 minutes, and despite his team not scoring a goal, Kamaldeen Sulemana put up a great performance which saw him earn a rating of 7.1, and currently Southampton are in line to play in the playoffs and possibly qualify for the Premier League next season. But let me tell you about the Ghanaian player who is likely or who is very, very set to play in the Premier League next season. I'm talking about Abdul Salis, who plays for Leicester City, and today they came up against Birmingham and Leicester City won the game by 2-1. Fatah Isaaku played the game but didn't score, but put up an impressive performance in the game. This was how Fatah Isaaku performed for his team Leicester in the game. The Ghanaian player played 81 minutes of action, and Fatah Isaaku was rated 7.7 for his performance in the game. Currently in the English Championship, Leicester City top the table, and in fourth place is Southampton. So we are likely to see two Ghanaian players join the Premier League next season. Well, that's how we wrap up here on Sports Updates Ghana. Thanks for doing the watching. Let me know in the comment section what you make of the updates that I brought to you on Ghanaian players abroad. Well, for Abdul Salis is injured, and will it be a worry for Ghana as we prepare for our World Cup qualifiers? So that is it for this episode of Sports Updates Ghana. My name is Joseph Adamafi. Thanks for doing the watching. Please subscribe, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Please leave a comment.